All right. Welcome back, everybody. We are on another episode of the Marketplace Mavericks. And today we are two Mavericks down. So I had to call him back up and I brought in our friend, the Gap King Omar.
Hey, hey,
Omar, how
hey.
are we doing today?
Listen, first of all, I'm freaking amazing, and I have to say thank you for having me back. I think maybe the first person who's been on the pod twice. Is that the
Yeah.
case? Feeling amazing. Can't be better.
Yeah.
Can't be
We try
better.
to have guests. We try to have guests almost every week because nobody wants to just listen to us talk. And we don't know, and like, I don't know enough stuff about Amazon to talk about it every single day, it feels like.
Well, I'm happy
Some
to.
days I feel like I know a lot. Some days I feel like I don't. The past week has been one of the times where I'm like, I just do not know if I know what is going on lately.
All right. Well, I'm happy to fill in whatever gaps I can.
Yeah, so
Oh, that's something ridiculous. I didn't mean it. That no pun
that
intended.
was good. That was
Ridiculous.
good. I didn't catch on to that till after.
God.
So you've been out there doing your thing. You and I are what is nice is you and I are kind of doing the same thing, but we're both doing opposite things.
Right, right, right.
You're
Absolutely.
you're really hammering the RA, mostly RA. You do some OA, don't you?
Actually, it's funny because people think that it's actually the other way around, but recently it has been a ton of RA. And, I guess maybe I'll even just get into that a little bit. What happened, and I know we want to talk about networking and how that affects the business and, how you can leverage that and things of that nature. And that's really a natural transition into the discussion because for me, OA is where I like to be. It's my bread and butter. But what I found recently is I've been doing a ton of RA, and people are like, "Oh, you only do RA, right?" But what happened is that I realized that there's money in RA, but I don't like to do it. Like a lot of people, it's weird, it's sketchy sometimes. You're scanning
Yeah.
a whole store. It feels like people are watching you. You feel like you're gonna get kicked out. It's awkward. So I said, hey, let me get past that. Let me reach out to my network in New Jersey and see who wants to go RAing with me. And I said, hey, if you want to go RAing, I will drive to you and let's do it together. Connected with my girl Sarah first, and then it went downhill from there in a good way. Right, the
Yeah.
snowball effect happened. I went out with Allah, then we started an RA sourcing group, and so
Hmm.
we got people from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Virginia, and we all source together. So we'll be in a grocery outlet, 7 people deep, scanning an aisle. And so because of that networking and that kind of outreach I've been doing a ton of RA. It's back to school right now. So
Yep.
we basically cleared out all of New Jersey of book bags and things of
Right.
that nature. So that's why it feels like I do mostly RA. And to be honest, most recently I have been.
Yeah. Well, it's all a lot easier because you're so good at the content. It's easier to give the content out when you're doing the RA. Um,
100%. Yeah.
yeah, I've only done it once. I live in an area that it just doesn't exist. Um, I wouldn't say it doesn't exist, but it's pretty like I don't live near a Walmart.
Okay. Wow.
So I'm
You're like the
50.
0.05%.
Yes. When I originally started, Miles was hammering me with doing like FBM and get this and go pick it up to the store. And I was like, yeah, Miles, I can't. I can't. Like,
Wow.
there's not, and I don't live in the sticks. It just, I live in a very touristy, in Massachusetts, and we don't have big box stores. We don't have any um, of the outlets,
Mm.
and this usually like on the Cape, like even our like Home Depots, I don't notice until I go like off Cape far away and I see a Home Depot or a Walmart, and it's
Wow.
like four times the size as even the ones that we have 50 minutes away because they build everything smaller on the Cape. So I just don't, I never had, which I wish I did because I like the idea. Sometimes you sit there, especially in the beginning of doing OA, and I tell people try RA. You're not going to get the replens. You're not, there's some home runs in there. And it's definitely like immediate satisfaction. I said, but if you're grinding on OA and staring at a computer, it's at least something to break up the day. Go outside, go for a walk, whether it's winter or not, you at least get out a little bit, which is
Absolutely.
nice. But yeah, I wish I had the OA. I did it. I tried it one time. I went to Ollie's about 45 minutes away from me in the dead of winter. And I was
Mm.
like, and I think Blake had just cleaned up at Ollie's. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
I went and
yeah.
Ollie's is kind of like an Ocean State job lot. You never know
Mhm.
what's gonna be in there. And I went in
Yep.
there, I scanned for 2 hours,
Hmm. Hmm.
not one thing.
Yeah. And your scenario, actually a woman I went out with, Claudia, she told me a similar story. She went to Ollie's, spent 2 hours in the first two rows, and she left because she was just like, I can't do this. And she went out with me and we got through the store super quick. And it was a completely different experience for her. And that's one of the things about networking is, and we'll get into this, I'm sure, a lot more during the discussion, but when you're doing networking, you find things that you wouldn't otherwise. And that's what happened with Ollie's and the other we mean grocery outlet and all these other places is you can get through the stores much more quickly when you're there with someone who's been there before. Or if you're just there with someone else, because instead of taking 2 hours to get through the store, you take 1 hour, you got somebody else scanning with you. And what I've realized is that once you've done RA a couple of times, specifically in the same stores, I can go into a grocery outlet and get out in 10 minutes because I know the store, I know what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
When it takes longer is usually when I'm asking somebody if there's something in the bag. And that's the muscle that you get once you've done it for a while. Because what was really bothering me is like I don't understand how these people make a living doing RA. It's just it takes too long, it's too much to it. But once you've spent some time doing it, it's like clockwork and you can get it down to a science.
Yeah, there was a in the other group that I'm in with Miles. I forgot the guy's name. He's been doing RA since 2014 and 12 million a year. And he broke down. Now, I don't even think this would be possible for someone to do. What it really did was it went to show that there's not just one way to do it. I
Yeah,
don't think what he's doing is something anybody would start now and make that their goal. But he
sure.
started it so long ago. He set up these systems, and for one, he lives in like I think kind of in your area,
Okay,
but he lives near like two huge um outlets. He's in like the best area you can possibly be in for RA for one.
sure.
And he started doing it. He has something like 7 shoppers, different
Mm,
shoppers,
okay,
and they all have to have a minimum spend and a maximum spend per day.
sure.
Then they go home and they box it and ship it themselves,
Mm,
under his like name
sure.
and everything. They get a percentage of what they buy or
Mm,
whatever it is. He has this crazy like system built out,
yeah.
and like the way he prices things on a repricer is different. It's just this very like out of the box, but he's been doing it. I mean, doing Amazon RA or selling on Amazon since 2014. You are an OG.
Yeah, 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 100%.
I mean, when I
100%.
hear people that have been doing it since like 2018, I'm like, oh man, they've been doing it a
Right.
long time. So 2014, it's like, if it's working for you, and he's like picked up a couple wholesale accounts just by chance from being, I think, just in the biz for so long. But he did OA for a little while. He was saying what RA does in his area is a lot of times when the sales go on for OA, they're nationwide. He can hit sales that are more in his area. So with his RA, he will get sales that people aren't getting in California,
Right. Right.
which makes sense. And him doing it on such a huge, large scale. And I think he does so much that I think they also own a consignment shop where all their returns go to.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
it is wild, but it's him
Yeah.
and his wife do it. They have like three virtual assistants that have been with them for a long time doing the back end. They take a picture of every single receipt, every single item that goes in fold. Like he went over the whole thing with us. He had this system, and it seems, to anybody else, it's like, oh my God, but him and his wife have been doing it forever. And yeah, I think they're 10 to 12 million a year.
Yeah, and it all makes sense to me because I was thinking about that a little bit earlier as I was trying to contemplate, our discussion today. And I can see the scale in the business at some point. Once you've kind of gotten this thing down, it becomes a capital game. And do
Yeah,
you have enough capital to grow the business? And as
yeah,
I see it right now, as you know, every step as I grow is it comes back to, and I think ultimately this business is about capital. I just saw some video, you know, 0 to 500,000 in 6 months. And it's like, yeah, you found a couple good ASINs or you whatever, you're doing replens, but ultimately you can't possibly do that without capital.
yeah,
Ultimately, it's got to be about capital. And you know, your guy, you know, he's 10 years, for 11 years. We think about our guy, you know, Tony, who's been on your pod before. You know, he's been doing it. He might even be around 10 years too.
yeah,
He's got a lot of systems in place, you know, and he's notorious. I tell a story about him. He doesn't want to do any work. He just wants to press buttons and make a bunch of money, right? And that's no disrespect. He'll tell you that himself.
yeah.
And you get to that place once you understand the game. And the guy's been around for 10 years, so he understands the game, him and his wife.
Yeah, yeah. And in the RA, I always say, I'm like, when somebody says like, "Hey, is Amazon a part? Is it a good part-time gig?" And I'm still up in the air about that. I was like, "Here's the thing with Amazon." I was like, "If you want to be a weekend warrior with Amazon, I would say RA." Just because you can take, unless you're really good with computers and really like that grind of extreme couponing. I was like, but if you want to get started and you want to do it as like a side hustle, RA to me would feel, because you can go out there, spend all your money on a Saturday, whatever your budget is, you get good at it, you come home, you box it all up, you send it out, you're done. Go out and do it again next weekend.
Yeah.
Or pick one day a week. Even if you're doing OA, you're ordering stuff, then you're gonna have order cancellations, and then stuff is gonna be getting constantly delivered to your house. I'm like, RA, you could go out there on a long day, source for 6 hours, come home, box it up for another 3 hours, send it out the next day. Um, so I always say, I'm like, if it's something that you're looking to do once a week just to make some extra money, I was like, I would say RA is probably your best bet.
Yeah, and I can see that. And what I would say is one thing I realized, 'cause I've been having a lot of conversations with people. Amazon is great business. I think basically anybody can do it. But if you are not interested in doing some work, some foundational learning, some trial and error, let me try this and see if I can get it right, or if I screw up, let me fix it, then this is probably not for you. There are some side hustles that are a little bit easier.
Yes.
I just actually just started one as a part of my networking. I fell back into it, which is Amazon Influencer Program.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that if you want to do a part-time job,
Okay.
something that's fairly easy, that one is for you. But what I would say to you, and I don't want to discourage anybody from doing Amazon because I think it's freaking amazing, but I've been talking to a lot of people and their grasp of the foundational stuff, their kind of quick frustration with the
Yes.
business, it's because they haven't taken the time to learn the foundation, go through the training, watch the videos. If you're not interested in that, because it's not like Uber, like you can't just get in your
No,
car
it's
and
not
pick
like
somebody
that.
up or deliver
Yeah.
some food.
It's not like you're a plumber, and on the weekend you go over and help plumb a house and make an extra $300.
Right.
Like,
That's different.
nope,
Yep.
that's easier.
Yep.
Like, I would probably, like, when I think of side hustles, I think of that as like a side hustle. I was like, I would probably just go over and do a little overtime if I was an electrician and do some extra.
Right.
Probably what I would do,
Right.
because there is just, and the capital.
Exactly.
I've run into the cat now with wholesale. I've run into two things happened to me the past couple of weeks. I started putting in large, I'm starting to scale and starting to put in large orders.
Yeah.
One order I put in, and it was a grocery order out in California. And now when I talk to these brands, I'm still kind of faking it till I make it here and
Of
sound like
course. Why
I'm
not?
like, what I know I'm doing. She was like, all right. I was like, well, what are we doing about shipping?
Hmm.
And a lot of times with groceries, a headache. It's really great because there's no returns, high velocity. The
Hmm.
bad part is little glass bottles, heavy compared to the price of it.
Yep.
And unlike OA, it ain't all free shipping. So it becomes an issue. And the woman was nice enough. She was like, yeah, shipping? She's like, that's on you. I was like, well, yeah, I figured it was on me. But she was like, no, call an LTL and have them pick it up. Call your
Oh,
carrier. And I was like,
right. Damn.
I was like,
Got you.
and she definitely said it like it's normal.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, an LTL, okay, here we go. So I'm trying to set that up. And then I realized I can't because my prep center is in Delaware. And I always
Mhm.
knew I probably was going to need another one on the West Coast. But I'm like, okay, guess it's time to get one on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So I find out I'm like, I can't ship that to Delaware. So I'm trying to I find this one place. I think I'm doing well 10 minutes away from this place. And they're like,
Mm.
we'll just send our truck over and go pick it up. I'm like, I'm
Right.
getting lucky. So a lot of the prep centers out in California, they do FBA Amazon, but it's
Yeah.
not all import export.
Oh, okay.
So they're bringing in trailer loads. So they're all of these places are an overkill for me.
Right, right, right.
There are these, I don't know it, but there are these massive distribution centers. So this guy was nice. He got on a call with me. He's like, that's right in our neighborhood. We can go over and pick. What I didn't know, like his rates were okay the way he was doing it. I figured California, it's expensive. It's probably going to be a little bit more
Right.
than what it would be here. And then like he sends me over the agreement. It was $2,500 just to sign up with him.
Wow. See, right.
But they
That's
do
totally
an
insane.
over. So finally I find someone else. And like I'm like, okay, like even if it's too expensive, I'm like, it's got to go some. I figure out the LTL shipping. They don't pick it up on time. 3 days goes by. They haven't picked it up. I'm trying
Right.
to coordinate that. That's a mess. I finally get it. I finally get it to the prep center 3 hours away. And he's just like, okay, we'll get to it. And like they put me in this other app that they use called Podio. And
Hmm.
like, I don't know if I'm talking to an AI person or not, but they're like, usually our turnaround is 3 to 5 days. You're pretty
Right.
low in the queue though. Hopefully sometime next week.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And now, so I'm adding 2 weeks onto this large pallet size order.
Mm.
And then I have another order with a brand direct that I think I have a good chance with, like an exclusive with, and I'm ungated. I'm gated on it. It was
Oh,
actually the
okay. Right.
first wholesale item that I didn't just auto ungate. But I
Right.
was like, okay, brand direct invoice, like no big deal.
Yeah, I think I saw your
I'm
video on that.
I'm 2 weeks in now. I am all the way up to leadership. They have kicked it for every reason possible. I have a letter of authorization, pictures.
Yep.
I have
Yep. Yep.
everything, and they keep on saying you're in they or they one of them just said like your documents are fraudulent,
Ooh.
and
Wow.
I'm like, what am
Oof.
I like? I finally got on the phone with someone that was trying to help. Like this one person was just like, yeah, you have everything.
Right.
I know. Oh, but I don't have any authority.
Ah,
So
great.
with that one, I'm 2, 3 weeks in. All the stuff is just sitting at my prep center. And now I think today or tomorrow I am going to probably eventually get ungated because the bottom line is I have everything.
Right.
So like it's gonna happen. But now those two things, and I'm cost wise over $10,000. No, I didn't lose the money. It's gonna
Right.
come.
Yep.
Like, and even this stuff is pretty stable priced. I'm really not worried about price tanking. Like, but it's just like, oh man, I got 12 grand. Just uh, like
Just
it,
sitting there.
yeah. Like it should already be at Amazon selling.
Right. And
And
that's
yeah, so that's the annoying. Now I'm going to try to not have that happen again and try to change things around so that doesn't happen. But the ungating thing, that could just always happen.
right. And I think that that's an important thing, as you know, we were just talking about a little while ago, is that if you get into this, it's a little bit more than just like copy and paste. There's some
Yes.
work, there's some due diligence that's required. And also, even leading back to our kind of networking point here, is that, what I've found is some of that stuff, like if you have a good network, you're able to tap in and say, hey, this is what I'm going through,
Yes.
this is what I'm about to do. So
Yep.
you didn't know that you were gonna have problems, but you might have had a conversation with somebody and said, hey, I just got this deal. Now I got to find an LTL place in California. And they're like, oh, hey, keep this in mind because when you sign up with somebody, it's probably going to cost 500 to 3,000.
Right.
If you start like, I'm not saying that that necessarily would happen, but it could have, and
Yep.
it changes your game because now you're prepared. Now you're thinking about this stuff, and you got your T's, crossed and your I's dotted before you even get started.
Right. I should have had a prep center already. And now, because I won't use this one again, now I'm talking to other prep centers in California who are on the normal side that is going to work for me. Because I really like using prep centers where they are Amazon sellers
Ah, right. So they know
because
your struggle
they
already.
know my struggle. They know I want it turned around. And you start making friends with them, start talking to them. It can turn into wholesale deals. It can turn into, because I had a friend who introduced me to Amazon. And he was like, hey, once you get in the community and you start selling some stuff, he's like, I used to do really well with partner deals
Mm,
where you partner up with a guy or two where you need to buy a certain amount. He's like, even if you each same brand, different ASINs, so you weren't competing with each other,
right,
or they might be movers fast enough where you could just be on the same listing. It didn't matter. It was selling 5,000 of them a month. Like one more
right,
person isn't going to hurt it. He was like, and he used to do really well with that. Um, so there's I like to I like to use people like the one I use in Delaware. He's got a couple brands that he does, and they're kind of new, just like me. Um,
perfect.
and
Yeah,
he helps me out all the time. He'll take a picture, like you know, technically the stuff's sitting there, like it could be he could charge me storage, but he was like, he goes because the stuff is not it's not very big
right, right, right.
what is over there. He's like, no, man, I'll just put it on the shelf. Like, don't worry about it. But if you're using one of the big ones, like, hey, if
You're
there's a
on.
storage fee, there's a storage fee. And I
Absolutely.
get it. But yeah, the networking is so important. But yeah, the capital, especially for wholesale, like I'm learning now. I started this whole business kind of with like my own money. Credit cards have my own money. And then the past month when I started seeing like, oh, things are starting to get busy now, I pulled credit line and
Right,
because it's really I was like if I want to start paying myself at some point, it's not your profit.
right.
I could pay myself now. It's your cash flow. So I
Exactly.
really said I was like and I would tell people like if you're going to pull a credit line and you're getting into wholesale, don't even waste your time and under you have to be six figures.
Right,
You have to be, I mean, you have to be 100. If you want to pay yourself, it doesn't mean you're going to use that all. But if you want to start paying yourself and, on the books you're making money, the only way of seeing that money um, when you're scaling is to, is for the credit lines. Because I've always said to myself, I said, my goal is to get to 100,000 a month and then stop for a little bit because you get to that stop for a little bit and then just work your replans and you'll see your cash flow in a couple months catch up
right.
because
Exactly.
you're not constantly putting more money out. So I've always said, I said, when I'm doing this business, I want to kind of at 100K a month slow down, just do replens, get your systems in order, recoup some cash, and kind of see that after a month of not buying anything and just doing your replens, kind of see like, oh, okay, now I see like all that cash flow coming in. It
Right.
makes
And that's
sense.
critical for
And
people
then decide to go more.
to think about is that you're going to be a couple of months ahead of where your money is coming back. So you're putting that capital out. So just because you're putting 10,000 in doesn't mean you're getting 10,000 out the next month. It's going to take you
60 to
3 months, depending on your
60 to
setup.
90 days.
Whether you're doing FBM or FBA, it's going to be a little bit quicker with FBM, but it's still going to take some time. And so
Right.
that's why the way I got it set up here at my house, or at least what I try, is that the things that I know move fairly quickly, or even in some cases like short dated, like grocery stuff, it's all here. So that stuff is trying to move, and I know it moves quickly. I'm not buying anything that I don't think is going to move, but the stuff that I think is going to move in
Some stuff doesn't.
days or weeks, that stuff stays here, and that allows you to pull in money and get it actually out of the Amazon system quickly, versus FBA, where the lead time is a lot longer.
Yeah, it's long with wholesale. It's long. It's 60 to 90 days because not everything's going to hit.
Right.
Just like with anything else, like I go through my repricer almost every day, and some stuff it's just like, eh. And it's always the stuff you had in the back of your mind. You're like, I kind of thought that might have not been great. And every single one of those is usually not great.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I've actually I just realized so it's not more complicated, but it's just a little bit different now because I've been selling a little bit more on Walmart. So I actually have some sales in Walmart. And so just thinking about both systems, I don't have a ton of ASINs. They're not ASINs in Walmart, but I don't have a ton of, I don't know what the SKUs or whatever in Walmart, but there's money there. And so now, because I'm a new seller in Walmart, I just got money just sitting there, which is
Yeah, they
annoying.
did
So
it
I
to
got
me
capital
too.
here, I got, almost, five figures sitting in Amazon plus my stock, right? And so I was just explaining to somebody the other day, it's like when you find yourself in that space, you're still spending money, but you have money just sitting there waiting to come out, right? And I'm doing daily withdrawals, and then you have your inventory. And I realized I had some older inventory that I just put on liquidate because I'm like,
Move
I'm
it.
not going to make as much ROI, but I don't care about the ROI. I need to get that money back, right? And so I'm trying to take the ROI or the money that I'm getting from that inventory to be able to go buy more
Yeah.
inventory that's going to move faster. And so that's why I'm saying like if you're trying to do this for like some quick side money, not that it's hard, but it's just a little bit more than
There's other things
right. Like I can go
you
get
could
a
probably
job
do.
at T-Mobile or I want to work at
Yeah.
Foot Locker or Uber or whatever. Those checks are going to come every 2 weeks or however you get paid every
Yeah.
week.
You're
But with
right.
this, it's a little bit more complicated and it requires more. And then you start getting into returns and slow movers and repricing. It's a lot.
It's
Um,
a lot.
so
It's
keep
it,
that
it,
in mind.
it's a lot. I don't think it would be. I could just think of, not that it's bad. I could just think of other things I would do first, because it's in velocity. It's just as important in OA or wholesale. I think wholesale, there's just because you're buying in such large quantities. Like when I'm looking at something, if the price isn't all that steady, I'm like, I can work with that because not everything's going to be a straight line. And honestly, usually on Amazon with wholesale pricing, if it is just a straight line, that's probably an exclusive or private label anyways. But velocity, it has to,
Sure.
for me buying, it has to have velocity because, hey, if the price tanks, which has happened, um, if the price tanks, something happens, I want to at least be able to get off on it. If I got to lose $1 on every single one, okay. But if it doesn't have velocity and now you're just stuck with it. You know,
Right.
I had some barbecue sauce that I was one of my first ones and I thought it was going to move. And I think whoever it was opened it up to Amazon, and it was like me and like 10 other people at the same time bought
Ah,
in
right,
this
right.
place. And it was one of those calls that was a little too easy. And I always will emphasize on with wholesale. If anyone agrees to sell to you really quickly, it might be a bad thing, even if it's
Right.
brand direct.
Right,
Because if
right.
they're just opening up and selling to anybody, or they just like, I remember her saying, "Oh, we just got a shipment in." I mean, they probably just got a trailer of it. So they opened up the sales to everyone who's calling. And when I was looking at it, it looked fantastic. By the time I got checked in and stuff, there's seven other sellers on it with me, and just tanked.
Yeah, and I think to your point a little bit earlier, that is one of the good things, even though I'm not the hugest fan. I'm a bigger fan now that I've been doing it in group settings, but RA will give you an advantage because what it requires in a lot of cases is movement. It requires effort. And one thing you'll find is there are a lot of lazy Amazon sellers. And if they can't get it online, they're not going to go get it in the store. And sometimes you'll find things that are either on clearance or on sale or just not available on the website or the inventory is off. And so you can find some good things that not a lot of people have if you're doing RA, which I think is an interesting point for folks who are interested in doing that. But I know I'm the guest here and we're talking about networking, kind of how it's benefiting me. Tell me about your networking. Like what's going on with you and have you been utilizing it a lot? I mean, I have a lot to kind of share and we can do that, but I'm curious from your perspective, what's been going on with your outreach? Have you been doing it and kind of where is it leaving you right now?
Yeah, I've been doing it on kind of like two different fronts. I've put myself in a position because I don't know if one day down the road if I ever wanted to kind of do what Miles does.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't be. That would be a year or two down the road if I was ever to even if I wanted to do something like that. But I really have gotten to kind of like the social media
Yeah.
part of it, the Instagram and stuff. So I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna keep on posting weekly vlogs, take some pictures, take some screenshots, something like 4 to 5 times a week on X in there, and keep on growing, like just organically with followers and stuff. So that, hey, in a couple of years, I might have 3, 4 thousand followers. Or if
Sure.
I want to do something, I can. Um, so I kind of stayed just steady with that. I was like,
Okay.
I like doing it. I've done some good networking through that. And then for me on my outreach with my wholesale, which is really my number one thing right now. And I think this is from owning other businesses over the past 20, 25 years, is I am searching and I'm using a hiring agency and
Okay.
spending a lot of money because I want my right hand for this. I've realized in wholesale some stuff not with OA. I've found out I want to be brand direct.
Okay.
I would love to find a couple distributors because you can really scale that way and get some good stuff. But my business, my vision is brand direct, exclusive, work with brands. I like it. I like talking to someone. I like the sales part of it. I like starting to buy from them and then talking to them about their Amazon. Like I have a legitimate, real, exclusive chance with somebody coming up, and he has like 3 products right now, and then he has 3 he wants to launch that are
Mm.
already selling. So it is potentially a game changing 5 figure a month profit. So not now, but 4 or 5 months from now it could be. So with all of that, you start to get into the PPC, all
Yep.
the
Yep.
advertising, the A plus content, the optimizing the pages, which is really what the brand direct is all about. It's about you really offering like, hey, why don't you just let me manage your Amazon? Why bother selling to 4 guys when you can sell
Right.
to one and I'll take care of all the marketing, I do all the PPC, I do all the advertising, and your sales go up. I take care of unauthorized use, all of it. But in order to do that, you got to have someone that knows what they're doing.
Right.
Some stuff you outsource, A plus contact, photos, stuff like that. You're usually always going to Fiverr that. But I realized I was like, and the VA I have now, he's like part time, 20 hours a week. He's fine for what he is. But I was like, I need help.
Right.
I need somebody that is going to do the back end and allow me to do the sales. Um, because I feel like in business, know what you're good at and do it. And then find somebody who is better at you at what you're bad at.
Sure. No, makes
And
plenty of sense. Yep.
that's where I was like, you know what? I found this hiring agency actually called somewhere.com. And I have some other guys that have used them, large, actually, Boxum used them,
Okay.
hired whatever they need VAs for, hired 5. 15 months later, all 5 are still there, 100% retention.
Oh, wow.
Once I started hearing that, I'm like, because I've worked on my own for so long and hired people, I know the benefit of a right hand, of somebody who just knows it. They know everything. You trained them. They're good. They're reliable. You, after a certain amount of time, it was my mechanic when I owned my taxi business. It was my mechanic. That man, I didn't care what his hours were. I just knew at 4 o'clock, every single taxi was going to be fixed, ready to
Right.
go. And on Saturday, he would run in for, like, I just knew it was going to get done. I didn't have to worry.
Right. It's
Um,
critical. Yep.
and I know the other end of that, of not having enough help or the wrong help, and you doubling the amount of work you do, and then you really just get nothing done all day long because you just put out fires.
Right.
So I said, I'm probably a little early for an actual full, and I want somebody full time who's going to work on my hours, work with me all day long, on Slack with each other all day long. Someone who has, and I'm interviewing several people, but all of them have, and they're a little bit more still unbelievable savings.
Right,
They
right.
all have
Absolutely.
worked for brand direct companies. They know everything already. I can train them to do the way that I want them to do, and I know the product that I want at the end, but I want somebody that is going to take care of all that stuff so I can be left to do what I'm good at
Right.
and not chasing down an LTL all day long or trying to get things ungated all day long or all this stuff because I'm not when I first started doing the wholesale, I was reaching out to almost 100 people a week.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
now I'm probably under I'm probably under 40. Part of that is because I'm starting to get business, so I'm starting to do follow-ups and stuff like that,
Right.
but a lot of it is like I'm running around putting fires out and I want someone to put those fires out for me. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I think when I do find the VA, it's going to like I have to have my capital in place
Right.
for all of that because I think once I hire that person, it's like, oh boy, like
Yeah. It's going to
it's
be a
time
game.
it's time to go because now I know enough. Where now if I go back to 100 phone calls a week now, when I have the back end taken care of, I'm going to scale really fast.
Be killing it. Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I think about, on my end, just what the networking has done is completely changed, my perspective on the whole game and how things work and how I'm working. So I think you might have mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I do these community calls every week. So that's kind of the crux of my networking as I think about it. So we have these community calls. They started as just sourcing. I did a 7-day sourcing challenge. Got a shout out to another one of your guests, Ian McIntyre.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah,
kind
he's
of,
that man's a machine.
he is. He pushed me to do that. Shout out to him. He's got a coaching business that
Yeah, he
he's
does.
getting up and running. I'm actually doing some consulting for him on his social media and also helping him build out his brand. So definitely look for him and what he's got coming very soon. Um, so it started as a sourcing challenge, but what it turned into is I saw that the community was like, "Hey, we love what you're doing," right? They're trying to be there. They want to see replays. I wasn't even doing replays at the time because I was like, hey, listen, we're doing these calls every day. You're either there or you're not. They could be at 9 in the morning EST. They could be at 9 at night, 11 at night. And, what we've done is we've continued to do it. I actually think I've done 30 calls at this point, and we've done everything from sourcing to networking, building relationships with managers. We just did a call on Amazon Influencer Program, which I
Yep.
absolutely love. So I'm actually doing that now. And what I'll say is that networking has, just driven a lot of things to me. And and I don't say that like, oh, all right, well, I'm gonna get something and it's gonna be a value and I'm gonna get rich, right? Not everything that comes to you is going to be something that you're interested in. I happen to be interested in Amazon Influencer Program, so I'm running with that now. And now I got a little group of people that we're doing that with and looking to scale it out. But sometimes you get stuff and you don't want it. But what I appreciate is having the opportunity. And what I see now is because I'm doing so much outreach, I get so many opportunities, I can't manage them, right? Somebody sent me a list of ASINs the other day. I still haven't even looked at them. He's like, "Oh, hey, this is cooking. This is, maybe okay." I had somebody earlier today reaching out like, "Hey, I got some extra product. Do you want it?" Right? And it's like, actually, I would have gotten it, but the price was wrong. But that stuff, like, how do I even know about this stuff if they don't
Yeah.
reach out to me? And they're not reaching out to me if I'm not networking. And so my phone, I'm not Miles because I know Miles, his phone has got to be crazy, but closer to that than, a lot of other people because I'm talking to people all the time. We're setting things up like, hey, I'm in this store. Come get this stuff. There was one guy hit me up the other day. He's like, hey, I'm in Marshall's. I know you can do JanSport. I left a whole row of lunchboxes. Come get them in the next couple of days. Right now, that's ridiculous. And that
Yeah.
is never coming to you if you're not
No.
doing this outreach. And again, I tell these stories and I don't ever want people to think, oh, if I do outreach, it's going to happen. So I've never,
No, but it will. It's that compound interest.
right,
Like
right,
I looked at my I looked at my lead sheet, because as I call brands, I kind of put a red line through it if they just tell me to pound sand, or like, people that tell me to call back. And now that I've been doing it for a couple months, I'm starting to look, and a lot of them are 3, 4 months out. And I'm like, I have 30 callbacks this
Yep.
fall so far
Yep.
of all, and I only put callbacks if it's solid, not just like they didn't answer the phone. That means somebody was like, yeah, we're not taking Amazon customers right now, or we don't have the inventory, or tariffs, we couldn't get this. It was, if I'm putting a callback in for 3 months later, it's that they had interest, they just, for whatever reason, couldn't do it. And I was like, oh, man, oh, I remember that brand. I remember that brand. And it's like, yeah, it's not, you're not getting it that minute. It might come back 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later. Somebody might say, like, they get a hold of you and they have an opportunity and they were like, oh, I was in your community call like 3, 4 months ago. And you're like,
Right.
oh yeah, it's not the instant gratification. It's not that I post my weekly video blog about wholesale and someone shoots me a message with like, hey, got this new distributor I'm using. Why don't you give him a call? And I call up and make a $20,000 order.
Right.
That would be cool. If anybody wants to do that, you're welcome to.
Please
My
do.
doors
Right.
are open. But like it doesn't work like that. You just got to keep on doing it. And like good thing, like Miles would always tell me when I didn't, you've always been in the social media game to a point.
Yep.
Me, beyond me taking a picture of my kids every 6 months, like I just didn't do it. I would
Right.
scroll through it, but I didn't do it. And so, and like that's how Miles explained it, was just like, it's not right now. It's 3 weeks from now, 3 months from now. You just do it
Yep.
because it doesn't, the stuff I do on Instagram and X, it takes me no time.
Right.
I was at the beach with my girlfriend on this weekend, and I was like, oh, hold on a second, I forgot to do the Friday vlog. Like, went down to the water and did it. When I got home, there was no service on the beach. Like, when I got home, I uploaded it. I was like, it took no time. And that upload, like, I looked today, had like 700 views.
And that's right. That's actually I remember watching that vlog because I'm like, why is this guy naked on my screen? And it was you. I'm like, I'm looking at this guy with his tattoos. What is he doing? But it's interesting that I'll say, you talk about 3 weeks from now and 3 months from now, whatever. I think it's Eric from Amazon Lit. I hope I'm getting that correct. But he was talking about some brand direct or some exclusive, who the hell knows what it is, that took 3 years. Now that
Yeah,
sounds like a long time. And technically, it is a long time, but 2022 was 3 years ago, right? And so, like, days keep going, the world doesn't stop. And so, what you're doing today, when 3 months hits, you're gonna be like, oh, wow, that was 3 months ago. Because I'm
yeah,
thinking about the first time I went RAing, it's probably like 4 or 5 months ago with a group. And we've done so many community RA runs at this point. People look at me like, oh, let me hit him up. Oh, I'm in town. Let me hit him up, and it just happens. And even you talk about social media, I can, if you're interested, I can show you how to kind of just even like with your channel and some of the shorts and stuff you've been doing. I could help you scale that in a way that won't really impact, your life that much. But
yeah,
you can easily scale social media. And I think the thing is, and we could do another call about this one day, people think about social media in the wrong way just because they're scared to post, or what will people think, or like, oh, I'm not that good. But I'm telling you, if you have 0 followers, no one cares and no one's going to see it. But once
exactly.
you start and you get better and you get people to see it, 700 views on your video, by the way, is insane. So that's amazing. So that should be inspiration for somebody because you're just really getting started, and 700 views is a lot.
Yeah, I've
And I'm
had
sure
like
you didn't even do a lot
and
to get that 700, right? So that's
right,
awesome.
and it doesn't take I think the prep center I'm probably going to sign up with. Miles shot me a text with like a group text with the other praise, he's like, hey, this is so and so, like meet you guys because he helped me find somebody for the prep center. And I was like, oh yeah, yeah. And he sent me his like X profile. And like, well, I think he's in the whole Miles like circle. So
Right.
like he had a pretty big Twitter. And I was like, oh yeah, yeah. He's like, I was like, here, I'll send you mine. And he was like, oh yeah, 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 you do the podcast. He was like, I already follow
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like I know he's within our community, but it's like, oh, all right. But it kind of like legitimized me a little bit because he was like, "Is
Absolutely.
this guy for real? Like, who's
Mhm.
Miles sending me?" And he was like, "Oh, okay." And like, I could tell like after that his tone changed, you know? And it was like, huh, all right. And just like little stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I think I saw, I forget, it might have been a short you guys had posted, but I think it was either how many episodes or how many months. I think you're like 4 months in. But 4 months ago when you started, you wouldn't have been like, oh, well, in 4 months we're gonna have like 20 episodes. Or it's like you start is the hardest part. And then everything from there, it just becomes easier and easier. So what I would say for everybody is on a networking side, and it doesn't have to be a lot. It's whatever is at your speed. I do certain things because I have a background in social media, and so a lot of this stuff is easy for me, and I don't have a problem, shooting videos and posting and all this other stuff. But do what's easy for you. Networking could simply just be finding somebody in your state. You're in a dumpy area where they don't have RA opportunities, but there may be somebody in your state that knows, hey, there's this store that you never considered. I clean up here. And now right? Not to say that that's actually the case, but a little bit of outreach will go a long way. And the most important part is just to take that first step. I'm going to use myself as an example because I've done a lot of different things that I wouldn't have done if I hadn't had my network. And,
Yeah.
and growing your network is easy. If you're introverted, it's not an excuse. I'm introverted by nature. I honestly just hate people until I meet them, right? So it's like if I'm meeting you for the first time, just know I hate you. I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk to you. I'm nervous on the inside. It's just not where I want to be.
Yeah.
But then we're instant friends, right? And
Right.
so if I can do it, anybody can do it. So you should use that as an opportunity. And it's free money, it's free education, it's free experience that you're not going to get trying to figure this out on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm kind of, I consider myself an extrovert, but not really an extrovert in like the social media world.
Mm,
But doing, a job where it's really for the most part in front of a computer,
yeah,
it breaks up the day. If nothing else, it breaks up the day like of sourcing of, that's why I like wholesale because it brings more of a people into it because you
yeah,
actually have, people you talk to, like I've, I make sure every brand that I call, like I have written down who that office lady is,
yep,
who that sales rep is, and I make sure, I call her by her name and I joke around with her and I make friends with her or him. And that's the part of this job that I like. But even just doing the social media thing, like I always consider like the guys in school, like you and Blake and some of the wholesale guys I'm with, I kind of consider it like coworker in a
yeah,
way. Because
yep,
we're texting each other during the day. It's about work, even though our work is different, but it's the same.
yep,
So it's kind of like texting your coworkers during the day or talking to your coworkers during the day. Even if you each have your own business, we're all kind of trying to do the same thing, really, no matter what you're in. Like I dropped in when I couldn't get ungated.
yep,
I dropped it in to the school text, like
yep.
what's going on and who else, but like Ian popped in, who is I still will never understand how that man is able to do the numbers he does.
And he does. He's
It's
insane.
absolutely wild. Um,
And,
you kind of basically like, unfortunately, with ungating, nobody can really tell you the reason. They can just be like, "Yeah, that's happened to me. It sucks." But at least you're like, "Okay, like I'm not the only one."
yeah, and shout out to him too because we did a an ungating master class, which he broke down ungating for 20 minutes, which it was fantastic. I mean, ultimately he said
Fantastic.
what you said, like, you can't control it,
You
but
can't.
he gave so many really fantastic tips that I think it's worth a watch. And that's
Oh,
available. We have it I'm having it on my Gap King YouTube channel. So you can check that out. But what I'll say is it's interesting. You said you're extroverted by nature, but not on the social media side, which is, a little ironic because for me, and this is me, just a person who's done social media for a long time, both for myself and for others, social media is a lot easier to be extroverted than it is in the real world because there's no pressure. There's no one in front of you. Like if you're shooting a video and it's just you and the camera, you're just talking to the camera, which is inanimate and it can't talk back. It can't laugh at you. It can't make fun of you, but the skill about social media, if you're truly introverted, is not watching the comments. And that is one thing, right? Like if you really suck or if you're like really growing and people are going to be, critical of you,
hating on you, yeah, right.
that might be a hard part, but as a person who's managed, a ton of like influencers and brands and things of that nature, that's one of the things that people sometimes can't stomach. It is like if
Yeah, it's
you want
hard.
to be famous, but you don't know what being
Yeah.
famous will get you. But I say take a leap. There's a lot of opportunity out there. There's a woman who I'll give a shout out to, who's a perfect example of someone taking a chance. Her profile is uniquely Cassidy on Instagram, and
Hmm.
she I believe is just introverted by nature, but she's really been doing a lot to document herself, her Amazon journey. And if she can do it, I would say, you can do it. And I watched her, kind of come out of her shell at the Miami Sellers Convention, and I've been watching her ever since. And I think that's just a great example of what you can do if you try. And
Yeah.
I know you talk a lot about social media on the networking side. What I would say is that's a great place to network, but your networking doesn't have to be on social media because social
Yeah.
media is public, and it is, it's also like you could have a post that goes viral and you could get a lot of flack or great things from it. But you could also do networking just via phone, via
Yep.
Discord, via text or WhatsApp, and that doesn't have the same sort of possible backlash that social media does. So there's a million ways to do networking, communities, and things of that nature. So just consider it. Always, you can reach out to me for tips or guidance, strategies, things of that nature. We do these community calls every week. I haven't scheduled one for this week yet, but we do those. So check in about that. And anything else, I'm just here. I'm out doing the outreach just to learn myself, help other people grow, whether you're a brand new person who hasn't made a sale yet, if you're experienced but you want to get into RA, or if you want to learn more about how to source Gap. I'm around, and you go to
Yeah.
thegapking.com. You can schedule some time with me, obviously for free. There's no charge. Um,
Yeah, give us your socials and give us a little plug. Give yourself a little plug, for the millions of users we get here.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I've been growing my presence. I'm scaling on a variety of different areas. So number one, you can go to thegapking.com. That will take you to my calendar. Find some time, set it up, and I'm happy to chat with you. If you can't find anything that works with your calendar, we can figure something out separately. You could always hit me up on Instagram. That's the main social media platform that I'm at. That's at thegapking.com. I'm posting daily content on there. We have an OA sourcing group that we are working on right now. If you want to get into that, just let me know. We also have an RA sourcing group that is tri-state and DMV. So anywhere in New York, New Jersey, or Pennsylvania, Delaware, Virginia, you can come out and source with us. We source all the time right now. We're crushing back to school. That's our big thing. And then I also have the Gap King on YouTube, so you will find my daily adventures on there. We also have our sourcing calls. There's a ton of sourcing calls that you can get. Most of those are unlisted, so if you want to see some replays, just hit me up and I can get those for you. All the stuff we're doing with ungating, connecting with managers, all of those things I can make available. We had a great call about credit cards and arbitrage card. I think that's actually public. So you can definitely check that out. And I actually just started something new, which is hilarious. I'm doing Amazon influencer program, and one of the ways to scale on that is to create a YouTube channel to post your reviews. And so I just created a new channel. I think it was like Saturday, and that channel is called Stuff Dads Need, which I love, right? Because that is, if you want to marginalize me, you can marginalize me as a dad, because that's the
Yeah.
only thing about me that matters. So
Yeah.
all my reviews are up there. So check me out wherever you want, man, and just hit me up. And if you hit me up on any of those platforms, I will give you my number. We can text. I text with a million people every day. Just hit me up on a platform and we'll connect.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Omar. And you guys, we just hope everybody liked this episode. I think we started grinding down um, to the nitty-gritty of Amazon. And I think the biggest thing is don't do it alone.
Never.
uh, Network, get out there, um, and good things will happen if you just keep on grinding and learn from other people. And until next time, we're gonna wrap this up today.
And look,
Blake and
like
Pete will be back.
like this post. I need to get a bunch of likes on this. I need a bunch of views. Listen, I need to be the first guest who's been on here for 3 times, and I need to be the first regular guest. So
I like
like
that.
this post. You don't, if you don't go to my page, I don't care. Just like this post. I need to be the first person to be on here 3 times.
Oh, thank you, Omar. I think we can make that happen. I think we can make that happen. Well, until next time, everybody, we will see you next week back with Pete and Blake. They were off. They had life got in the way today, and but we filled in for them. Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next week.